almost had a false start there for some reason. The commercial didn't want to kick in. Podcast number 154. How are we going to keep entering these podcasts? Change it up every time.
Yeah. Keep everybody on their toes. Welcome aboard, everybody.
Another week.
Who's excited for another great podcast?
Yeah. You say great podcast, but we really just kind of ramble our way through it. And
who's excited for more mediocre content?
There we go. That's what we like to hear.
It feels like forever since Daryl and I've been on. It's been like 3 weeks.
Yeah, you guys have lives. It's
well, I mean,
you know what?
I had meetings and all that fun stuff. I'm glad that's over.
The last time you were on, Tim, that was for Danielle's?
No, I missed that one. I had a meeting that night.
Did you watch it at all?
I watched a bit of it. Yes. Yeah.
Good. Did you take any notes?
Drinking's bad. That's what I
yeah. She talked a lot about nutrition and stuff, and then I was really wondering if you took anything to heart. And then, you know, last week we had a business meeting in the morning, and we had to have like a breakfast stuff. So we had to bring in some like muffins and danishes and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And when they all left, Tim proceeded to eat 8 danishes before noon.
Fuck! I crushed the shit out of them.
Well, they're there. Why would you not crush them?
Yeah, you gotta eat
8 of them.
Do you know what? In all fairness, they're a lot smaller than the other ones, and then you ate one and you felt bad for the other one, so you ate the other one.
So you ate the whole family.
Yeah, absolutely.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
We got a new utensil at BPG this week or last week. We got a new toaster oven, so we've been making cookies every day. You got to work yourself into like, what are you gonna cook on the toaster oven? But these, like, of course, the fundraiser of the tub of cookies. Of course, I bought a dozen of them before Christmas time. So we're just
excellent.
having
That's
some cookies.
That's got to be really good for you and your health stuff.
Oh yeah,
real good. I'm sure the office is really glad you have one bathroom.
Yeah.
Do you have a private bathroom, or it's just you have to share it?
Yeah, no, we got 2. We just built a new one. One's got a little more space. Yeah, depending on what you need to do.
Jesus.
I never watched Danielle's podcast either, but that's good to know. Daxie's saying about
really
healthy
good.
nutrition.
Big
What am I
nutrition.
doing?
Yeah, it was good.
It's worthwhile to go back and look at. Absolutely.
Cindy enjoyed it, and she's using definitely some of those ideas. She's way more health conscious than I am, and probably why she's in better shape and better health than I am.
Now, was it more about at a bowling tournament, the proper ways to nutritiate like throughout a full day, or was it more about
that's what it was geared towards?
Yeah,
was for that.
Have you ever seen whenever Carrie's probably going to see it this weekend, but when she goes for like the Open and stuff, she has every snack for everybody there basically. So, I mean, she has all the healthy stuff. She has everything planned, the meal preps for the day. And then there's just probably you and I, or just drink Gatorades or have a couple beers and call it a day.
I got a little inside scoop, actually. I'm happen to be bowling with Cindy Sunday, so I get all the snacks. So it's going to be good.
I know. Yeah,
I dabbled in that.
good.
I've taken the whole tray of veggies and the carrots and the cucumbers and all the peas and all those things and stuff. But the last few years with the stomach, I'm just... but it is definitely helps to munch on something throughout the whole day. You don't see enough of it, so I'm glad that Danielle talked about it. Maybe this year we'll see a bunch more. We have the Open trials coming up this weekend. It's kind of seems to be on everybody's brain now, isn't it? Right, this coming weekend, at least in Alberta, it's Open trials.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if any zones have gone yet. BC's had some last weekend. We saw. Of course, we know club tours happening this weekend too. This is busy time, isn't it, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's now tournament season, as they say. Everything's happening here in the next couple months. So
when is it not tournament season lately, though? Holy cow!
Well, you guys see a lot more of it being in a bowling center, but we had Masters a few weeks ago, and then prior to that, it was Winnipeg. It's been a while. It has been a while. So
I haven't seen other provinces do their Masters second qualifying and stuff. Is Alberta a bit ahead in the game on the tournament side of things?
Yeah, kind of just I don't know. I know BC does their first set kind of the same time as us, and then they do theirs later on. I want to say they do theirs in March and April.
Yeah.
They kind of stuff them into the last
April,
2 months, and then I know Manitoba and Saskatchewan only do 4 tournaments, right?
Manitoba does 6, I think.
Oh, they do 6? Okay, but they only do 6 games or something.
6 games, Saskatchewan only does 4, right? So they do one in like same time we do in like October, November, and then they do a couple in March. So there's only that there.
Perfect.
Ontario has about 6 of them throughout the season, and same as 5. There you go. 5
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on. I just think everything is kind of just, I don't know, you just kind of gear up for the Open, and then afterwards we have, we have Regina, and then you have a couple weeks and you have the Masters again, and then you have this and that, and there's something big each month now, right? Until, I guess, depending if you make a Nationals or not, we have something until the end of, July. Yeah, there's something going on, right? So
I'm excited. I mean, we had 5PL and we talked about the Open like this coming weekend. Like that's the sort of the big one now, isn't it? Here for us, anyways.
Yeah.
Edmonton, we're 42 guys and 19 ladies. We have 60 people playing at Edmonton here, and there's a long list of people that could play that aren't playing. So, I know Carrie or Dex, Tim, you said there was 30 or something playing in Central. I mean, I don't know what in Calgary, but I mean, the Open in Alberta is always a big time here for sure to see who's going to make those zone teams.
It's huge. And then, like you said, then Ontario's doing club tour this weekend as well. In Hopedale, I believe.
Yeah, in Oakville, Hopedale, yeah.
That's Dave Bentley's new place, I think.
Is it? I heard pinfall's good there. It should be awesome. It should be really good.
It's a big turnout. Like they got lots signed up, so.
And I know Mitch did a really, really good job at getting sponsors and stuff too. So there should be great sponsorship money there too. And shout out to Mitch for shooting 1900 for his Masters set the other weekend. I think he's sitting 5th overall for teaching Masters. So congratulations, Mitch. That's you're doing awesome. He was like 300 POA or something. It was crazy. Good shooting for a guy with half a wrist.
Yep, pretty much.
That must have been obviously only 6 games or something.
Yeah, 1900 for 6. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry, 1900 for 6. It was huge.
I didn't see that stat, so I didn't know if it was. I didn't know if you were taking a rip at the guy or if you were actually giving him.
No, he shot 1900 for 6. It was awesome.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, Cindy was just saying there's 31 in Central. Like,
nice.
The number's down a little bit, I think. Ladies are up, men are down, but.
Do we know anybody else watching that's? What about Alberta North? How many are playing? How about Calgary?
North?
How many are playing? How about South? How many are playing? Anybody? Let's hear.
I know North is okay. North is about 30.
BC, we saw a couple of results down there on the island and in Vancouver area. Saw a bunch of the guys like the Venom, Daryl Easton, him winning his. Marcus, I think, on mixed. Rhonda, I think, was on their ladies.
They still have another set this week.
They do? Oh, okay. So they play 2 separate weeks.
Sundays
Is that how it works for them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Eisenhower texted me they have 42 or 43 for the interior.
Okay.
Wow.
Now, they're running theirs a little bit different, and same as BC North. They run theirs where they have, like, they're playing, you can either play in Trail or you can play in Capri, and then they send the scores in, right?
The North is doing the same thing. They're playing Hypertension or Williams Lake.
Correct.
For BC North.
Was it Williams? No, sorry, GP. Black Diamond, I'm pretty sure.
No, PG.
Oh, sorry, PG.
Oh,
yeah.
Prince George, yeah. Sorry, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the Williams Lake guys got to go up to Prince George.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
So but I mean, at least I know it's a long drive, but at least they do have the option of playing in either center, whichever they prefer. So,
it sucks for the Williams Lakes guys because it's 8 hours to get to Hypertension, but if you're worried about making team just based on pinfall, like Tyler and those guys are great players, but would you make that extra 6 hour drive to guarantee your spot?
I would look at the roads and then make that decision, right? Sign up and say which one am I going to go to. Yeah. If it's anything like the weather we've had lately, I'd be like, I'm taking an 8 hour trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd be pretty lucky. I see John Willock says there's a huge storm coming into Hopedale area here.
Yeah, they're getting slammed here in Ontario.
We're sending some hats out there. Anybody's coming on that tour, some 5-pin Universe hats are going to Daryl Noble. Hopefully take care of a little bit of merch sales. Get the plug in there, boys.
Oh, and Terrace as well.
Oh, 3.
So they're doing 3.
That's crazy. But you know what, though? I mean, I get it. It's such a vast area. Like, you have to make some kind of provisions, right?
Exactly.
Well, there's no roads. That's the issue.
I
You
know,
gotta
good
drive
ones,
through
yeah.
mountains.
And you're talking an 8-hour drive. I mean, like, I get it. At least this gives some sort of option for a 2-hour drive instead. It's yeah.
It just sucks that there's such a scoring discrepancy, but I totally get it too.
Yeah, no, I get it. But you know what? We're speaking about club tour a little bit here. I can guarantee Mitch that somebody from the East wins. I just have a feeling this weekend.
It's going to be a strong East representation at this one, so probably a good chance.
I think the only guy going West right now is Ryan Edwards.
I did see Ryan. I think Ryan is going. Yeah.
Oh, did you see? I was looking through a list to see if there's anybody that was going to go.
So I know he mentioned about airport pickup.
If the club tour wouldn't run it on open qualifying weekend for Alberta, they probably would see a few more, but they always pick that weekend, so it makes sense.
It's all right. They already made some provisions to move their
summer one.
They made provisions.
Yeah.
They made provisions. They just got their tournaments off our weekends. So it's not provisions.
Now the one in Nebs in August is the biggest tournament ever. It's going to be like 500
exactly.
next year.
But how hard was that?
and honestly, I'm pretty certain that Jeff's very happy he's making that happen there. Yeah, there you go. Matthew Harms too. He has a little bit of money to spend, right? So from the last tournament
from Winnipeg, yep. Yeah. Good second place for Matt.
He's been winning all sorts of things out there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Tons of like 2 or 3 tournaments around Christmas time. I'm pretty sure he won. It's crazy.
Nice.
And then had a 9-bagger from the gun, 10-bagger from the gun, or something like that.
Something like that.
Oh yeah, 10-bagger, and then he got absolutely roasted.
Oh, here's something, and this isn't really off topic, but for all those people that are filming these perfect game attempts, go stand behind the person.
Hendo's film was the worst filming of a perfect game I've ever seen. It was horrendous. You saw everyone's backs.
Man, I get it's a perfect game and you don't want to add any pressure to the fella or the lady, but if they're gonna throw it, get it on film, please.
They already know.
Everybody knows that the cameras are coming out. Once you're at 9, it's like they're coming around, people.
Yeah,
like,
that was horrible. Like Hendo, a fan of the podcast, a fan of 5-Pin Universe, a disgrace of perfect game filming.
I'm glad you throwing him shade. The bastard.
Always.
We just don't tell, if there's a perfect game watch at Sherwood, it's like we just go tell Tim or Dex like, hey, there's you're on duty.
Well, yeah, so you did that, but you went early. You said Tyler was 8.
Yeah.
So I went up and watched him pitch 3-pin or whatever. It was like absolutely garbage, Tyler.
Yeah. Don't tell me next time. Tell me after 9.
Yeah, I agree, Steve. Don't cut off immediately either. See the disappointment in their eyes or do something.
But is it really worth it? Is it worth it anymore? They already screwed up. Like, why give them more?
Oh yeah, I want to see that. You want to see their heart breaking.
I kind of maybe bring the camera down below and ask them how it felt to miss.
Yeah, there you go. An interview,
can I get a word, please?
Yeah, I think that'd be perfect. Yeah. Hey man, you suck. What happened?
We'll do that to you next time, Tim.
Yeah, well, there won't be that time, but I mean that's cool.
When was the last time you threw 9 from the gun?
Regina.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I dare the next person filming it that somebody doesn't get it, run down there with a phone and try to get it right in front of his face. Hey, how'd it go?
Depending on who it is, I think it's a real possibility.
Maybe at the Open this weekend on Open qualifying. Hey, Bonnie Doon.
You guys got Bonnie Doon. You never know.
You know what?
Bonnie Doon.
Dexter says it does not play that easy, but or as easy as what it was. You're still gonna have good scores. It's still gonna have but again, if you're 275 after that day, you're fine. Like it's all good.
So Steve Barker, since you are live streaming Hopedale, we want to see it. If it happens, get right up in their grill, find out what happened, even after like a 7-bagger from the start. Just go in and see how it goes.
Always.
So good old Mitch is watching. Isn't he like vacationing somewhere, or is he back?
No, he's back. He was in Cuba.
Oh, in Cuba.
My favorite place in this world. I love it.
The food could be better.
People are good. People are good.
Let's move on to our special guest of the evening here. But first, you can become a patron at patreon.com/5pinuniverse for as little as $2 a month and join all these lovely folks in supporting us. Bring this mediocre content to your faces. So without further ado, Tim's going to take over the rest of this podcast, lead us through his agenda, and let's bring in a guest. Amy Spence, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us.
Great to have you there, Amy.
How are things over in your end of the world?
Oh, they're all right, I guess. Pretty snowy.
Smelly.
Snowy.
Snowy. Boys, come on. This smells like fish down here on the.
You know what?
All we do is fish all day long.
You know what? The sad thing is we were talking about the shepherds just before podcast. So I mean, anything could have happened, right? So.
Oh man.
Well, we know we haven't had any snow out here for quite some time, so we're gonna just keep it that way. I think you guys can have it. But we're really happy to have you on. I think you have quite the story we can talk about a little bit here. Maybe you want to tell us how you got into 5-pin bowling. I know you have 2 gold medals in YBC. I know I missed one earlier, so maybe you can touch base on how you got into bowling and how you got it all started.
My parents were met through bowling, to my knowledge. So when I was born, I was always at a bowling alley. From 2 months old, I was always there. So I started when I was about 4. Have been bowling ever since.
So where in PI do you play out
of? Called the Alley. Used to be Murphy's Community Center.
Murphy's, okay. Yeah. And I know they've done a lot of upgrades over the years, haven't they? There, it looks pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
How many lanes are there?
14.
That's way
odd number.
Than I thought.
But only 6 of them work right now. So.
Oh. All the upgrades Tim was talking about.
Yeah. No, there was something I heard about that. Maybe it was through JB or whatnot that they were having a little bit of issues out there. So, yeah. But anyways, so you have 2 YBC. How many times do you go YBC Nationals before I put my foot in my mouth? Okay, because I already have the 2 golds, right, in 2012 and 2016.
Yeah.
But I know you participated more than that in YBC, and I know you were part of the Youth Challenge as well. Correct?
Yes.
Yes.
I think I went to 6 YBC Nationals. I can't remember exactly. And I made every Youth Challenge from the time I was 13 to 18. So.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you've been to 12 or 13 nationals before you got out of YBC.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's crazy. That's a boatload of experience. Yeah.
Wow.
Not many people can say that they've been to that many nationals. Right? I don't know how many.
0.
Yeah.
0 nationals out of YBC.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many as an adult carry?
7? 6? 6,
Yeah.
I think.
Did they
so
get
you're better than
easier
Carrie
or-
Cranks.
Yeah. Did they get easier over time, Amy, or has it just become then expected at some point that you were always going to make the nationals, and that became the driving factor? How am I going to compete at nationals, right?
It was it was more or less. There's not a lot of bowlers out of here, so it was expected that I was going to make a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think PI and bowling has come a long way. So now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's much better than it used to be. Your core group of people there have done a great job in promoting it. So I think your skill level right now is there's no doubt that you have a chance every year. But youth bowling is a little bit different, obviously, than the adults. It's crazy. You know what? I have to apologize. I'm usually good with names and faces. Me and Daryl and everybody ran the 2015 YC Nationals, and you're in Edmonton. You were here that year.
I was. Yeah.
You're probably a lot younger back then, so I'll give myself a pass there. But
I remember Tyler Ford.
Yes.
There was of course we were introducing the names at the banquet, and I wanted to know the pronunciations of everybody's name around the table. So I said there was 2 Tylers or something, right? There was on the BC team. So I said to the one Tyler, "Hey, how do you pronounce your last name?" And he's like, "Ford." Dude, it's not that hard. I'm like, okay, you're clearly not the Tyler that I'm looking for. I can't remember which one it was. So.
That's not a name I haven't heard that name in a long time. And that kid was like ultra talented. He was really, really talented.
Wait, he threw a perfect game in YBC, did he not?
No, he won the Scottsdale in YBC.
Oh, that's right. He won Scottsdale.
I think he's out in Toronto right now with work or school. He was out there, so I don't think he came back.
That old work thing, work and family, ruins 5-pin bowling careers.
Yeah.
So, Amy, in your first national, sorry, Tim, like in your nationals, when did you win? You won bantam singles?
Yep.
And
so
was that your first nationals or second nationals that you went to?
That was my second one. I went in 2011, and then I went again in 2012, and that's when I won.
So there was a bit of driving factor to like, hey, I know what it's going to take now. I now see the rest of the country. This is my, on the competition level that we gotta work on that, and then you go and achieve that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You averaged 190 at nationals as a bantam. That's really good to beat Miranda Eby, who is fantastic as well.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Is there any memories from that one that you can reminisce about a little bit?
That was the year it was so foggy in St. John's we couldn't get in, so we only bowled half the games.
I was wondering why you only had 13 games in. That's interesting.
Yeah.
They've changed formats so many times and I wasn't 100% sure why. But that makes sense. Okay.
It was like 3 or 4 of the provinces couldn't get in, so they just cut half the games out.
That makes sense. And then in 2016 you won gold as a junior girl, and I believe that was in Chinook, right? Down in Calgary?
It was in Calgary, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You really expected her to remember the name of the bowling center that she played in?
Well, I did all my history and my digging, right? So I thought I'd throw it back at her.
That would have been post Chinook, all their renovations and stuff.
Oh yeah.
2016.
Yeah, I think Chinook did theirs in the early 2000s.
Oh, okay.
If I remember correctly, yeah.
I guess maybe it's been a while since we've.
It's been a long time since.
I mean, you guys have done all the masters and some of those things.
The synthetics went in like after 2010, though.
No, 2010 they're in.
Really?
Yeah.
I would like to say 06 or 07 or somewhere.
They're in really good shape.
I haven't played at Chinook since the Autumn Open. We're talking 20 years. How long has it been since then? Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's one. Honestly, it's a beautiful center down there.
Sorry, we're segueing there. Sorry.
2016, yeah. So you got now. Let's put this in perspective. Out of PEI, how many gold medalists have been out there? I know the Gallants won some in the past, right?
Yeah.
But
there's not very many.
Not many. So.
No.
So you're kind of a celebrity out there, you can say.
Sure.
No, you did very well at that. I know you obviously won gold in 2012 and in 2016. Mm-hmm. For Youth Challenge, did you have any medals or any All-Stars?
No.
No?
No. I got a high score for high 4 games one year, but I don't remember what it was.
So which one did you enjoy more? Did you enjoy the singles portion, or did you enjoy the Youth Challenge, or did you, and just in general, there are 2 different ones you can't really compare?
I like being on a team. It's a lot more fun than being by yourself.
Fair, right? I mean, yeah, that makes sense, especially when you're going across the country and just you and the family, basically, right? So yeah, understandable. That being said, I know you've been trying out for some of the 5-pin events out there, and you made the Open this year in the mixed team.
I did. I'm on the ladies team.
Ladies team. Okay, so
wow, Tim with all the research misses.
Really digging deep there, Tim.
Hey. You know what? I did some digging, and I know
she's going to bring this up again.
Yeah, and I know she's coming to Edmonton. I think is that where nationals are this year? Edmonton. I think that's where it's at. So.
Who's on that team? So you guys have PEI's already done, and they send a full contingent.
Yeah, just recently, 3 years ago, I think we started sending a ladies team. Yeah.
So men's, ladies, and mixed team. You said.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Who's on that?
Yeah, who's on the teams?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a lot of remembering.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go. Oh, this is good.
Well,
I'm
John
Walsh
Walsh is singles. I can tell you that. John Walsh and Mary Jo McKenzie are singles.
So they're not playing on team as well.
No, they made a rule this year that if you're doing singles, you can't do team.
In PEI, okay.
Yeah.
That's just a PEI rule. That's not a national.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
So my mom is actually on the ladies team with me.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And then Sherry Wedge. You got Veronica Collicutt. There's a bunch of younger people.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
I can't.
Yeah,
Who else?
Stephanie Kneebone, Darby
Stephanie
McCormick.
and Darby. Yeah.
Yeah. You're welcome. I saved you there.
No, I would have got there eventually.
For the men's team, you had Scott Clays, you had Nicholas McRae, you had Justin McRae, you had Steve Kneebone, you had Alan Clark. I'm sorry, and you had Serge Arsenault there. I love Alan. And then for the mixed team, you guys have not Veronica, Valerie Kneebone, Susan McCarthy, JB Rainsberger, Albert Shepard, Scott Spence, and Karen
That's
Gloves.
my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I played against your dad a few times out there. He's a good player.
Yeah.
That sounds like a fairly competitive mixed team.
Val's not bowling anymore. So Michelle Flanagan, she's in instead. I think it's her first open.
Oh, good. Val's going to be coaching, right?
Yeah.
That's a good thing that you have
coaching
some
the
younger
men's
players.
Yep. I think. Well, I'm 21. Sherry's 20. Veronica's 23. So, relatively young team.
We had this conversation, and that was the exact word that I used before podcast.
I don't know if that's the exact word we said, character, but
no, I said character twice.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought we were talking about his looks. So that's a good comment by Tracy. Is it what's kind of the feeling about playing with your mom? Is it kind of neat?
I think it's pretty cool. She coached the ladies team last year, so I have a similar idea of how it's going to go.
Yeah. Well,
awesome. Those scenarios don't happen very often.
Yeah.
So that's really neat. Actually, I think we were talking about that this week, weren't we, Carrie?
Yep.
Right? Because Henry was trying to make it so he could maybe play with Jordan, right?
Yeah.
And we were trying to figure out if we knew anybody in Alberta who had done it. I mean, we were thinking like Victor and Lawrence, maybe, but probably maybe not.
I think so for sure.
No,
Victor's
Greg
not
Dobie?
as young as we think. Sorry, Vic, but
no, but I think maybe
he's been
1 year
around longer. I feel like him and Lawrence have played together on a team.
I think maybe once, but Vic moved up to North for a long time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Vic and Lawrence might have when Vic won the Open when he threw the perfect game, but I don't believe so. I don't think Lawrence was on that team that year. And then Vic didn't. I don't know. That's a question for them, obviously, but I don't recall it. But.
I just got a text from my mom saying that my dad, her, and my brother played on the mixed team 1 year.
That's really
There
neat.
you go.
That's
Very
really
cool.
neat.
Yeah. And I think I played against your brother too in the past too.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's definitely been like parent coaches, with their kid on the team.
Yeah.
That's a really good reason, Val. That's awesome. That'll be neat.
I know Nancy Gervais and Donna Gervais. They're aunt and niece kind of thing. That's been done in the past. I know other people have played each other. Like Bev and Rose. So that was a little bit different, but yeah, it's tough. Very few times out there, especially in Alberta, we have that opportunity to, right? So
parents playing with their kids, yeah, it's interesting.
And you know what? I know Henry's been playing very well this year, right? So I mean, there's out in our zone, there's ample opportunity for a lot of people to make the team. There's such good talent out there, but we don't have an average pro open, right? So it's just a professional open for these guys. So
what about Annette and Melinda?
I think they've Oh, you know what?
Wasn't it last year? Or 2 years ago? Wasn't it?
No, Melinda wasn't. No, Melinda. You know what? I know Mark and Annette, and Mark and Annette were on a team once, and then COVID knocked that down. I have a feeling maybe 2014.
We need to have a running list. I'm sure Ontario's got just a gamut of scenarios where parents have played the
Yep,
kids.
this is true.
Yeah.
Nick and Justin are on the same team too.
Nice. Lots of family, here in PEI. That makes for a fun contingent going.
Yep.
Where's Don's Sim? We need Don's Sim. Why isn't Don on the podcast right now, Tim?
He would have all this information.
Yeah, he has it in the back of his head, but it's awesome to see that you're coming out, and I know for us who are actually all here helping out with the Open Nationals, we're really excited to have you guys, and we're going to try to make it the best one we've ever had before. So
yeah, we'll
I'm very excited.
We're glad you made it.
Yeah, very glad you made it.
That's our theme. Yeah, we're glad. There's a lot of dad jokes, so.
Yeah. Dad jokes and plaid, yeah.
Uncomfortably funny, right? So, so we'll leave it at that for now. But I do want to touch base. This is where I find you really fascinating. Is you're a lawn bowler, right? So, or is it and carpet bowl? Is this exactly the same thing?
It's the same thing, but here we only have like grass.
Okay.
I only played carpet when I went to Ireland. Yeah.
All right, so let's maybe get you how you got started into this, and how it became to what you've created into, which is an international experience.
Yeah, so I used to do curling as well as bowling, and lawn bowling is basically a combination of the two. So my mom said, well, why don't we go try it, see how it goes. Mm-hmm. And I stuck with it. I've been playing for 10 years. I've been to about 4 nationals. I was finally able to win one there last year.
So for all those people out there, what's the kind of the background of lawn bowling? How do you get involved out there or out anywhere? Because be honest with you, out here, unless you know somebody in lawn bowling, we don't really hear about it at all.
It's not very popular, but I know here you can just, if you wanted to try it, you can just show up and ask someone, say, can I try this? See how it goes. There's a lot of recreational leagues. It's not all just, competitive.
Okay. And so how many in your age group?
From where? From all across Canada or from PEI?
Well, let's do both.
Well, I'm the only junior in PEI.
Before podcast, you said you were the only person under what age in PA?
Like 50.
Yeah.
And at nationals, there's normally about 20 or 30 kids, but there's a lot of people in Ontario that don't get to go because there's way more in Ontario than there is in other provinces, and they only allot a certain amount of spots for each province.
Right, that makes sense.
And okay, I might know this, but where was lawn bowling nationals this year?
In Northern Ireland, or no, sorry, nationals was in Port Credit Lawn Bowling Club. So I don't know where that is.
Was it in Ontario?
It was in Ontario, yeah.
Okay, yes, because we had one of our YBC brothers' kids play out there this year. So he was completely first time playing, didn't have they needed to fill up a team or something or whatnot, and then so he went there and they couldn't believe it. They had a lot of fun out there. So yeah.
It's interesting because lawn bowling, like you're saying, Tim, and Amy, that there's not a lot of people that play it. So the opportunities that if you do choose to play it, you're going to be almost an automatic shoe-in for a provincials or a nationals or even a not worlds, but you got to earn that way. But mean, like you say, you're the only person playing in PEI. I think that's just a credit to you to like, hey, I see an opportunity here. If I'm the only person playing, I'm going to keep practicing. I'm going to get better. But you can now travel. You can travel the country, and now you can travel international. I mean, talking to Grady Long here in Edmonton, he's our executive director was for Bowl Alberta, and he was heavily involved in lawn bowling, and that's what he said. He said there's only like a half dozen juniors that are playing here. So, like Steve Barker says, for YBC kids that are doing it, it's a great crossover sport. We certainly don't want to lose five pinners, but my goodness, people out there wondering and wanting a second sport and maybe to travel the world. I mean, that's something to look into is lawn bowling. It's cool.
Yep.
So maybe for our listeners out there, because I haven't really lawn bowled before, so maybe I don't. Okay,
you did, and then you said no.
Yeah. But yeah, I did say it was an older person sport, and then Amy came on. So I do apologize for that. But it's interesting. So, but you and Dexter both have done it in the past. Obviously, you're a much better player than Dexter ever will be. And I just wanted, maybe you guys can explain how this is.
Are we going to have a bowl off?
Oh yeah. You know what? Amy can come up here for nationals, and we can go to the Commonwealth Club, and you guys can have a bowl off.
I'm gonna have to break out the bowls.
5-Pin Universe live stream. 5-Pin Universe live stream.
Yeah, we'll live stream that all
Amy
day.
That's good.
Dexter.
Along with the soccer game that we're missing that Tim said he was
now
going to
are
do.
you Team Amy or Team Dex? Who
Team
are
Amy,
we?
100%.
Oh, yeah. We never cheer for our own. It's always Amy.
Team Amy. Yeah.
You know what? You guys probably come in on the Monday, right? So you'll have that extra time. This works out perfectly. We already booked you in. Okay, sounds good.
It's settled. Yeah, it's settled.
Sure thing.
Okay, anyways, do you guys want to explain what lawn bowling, how it's different than a bocce or different and how it works?
This is your show, Amy.
I can add to what you say.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Amy's right when she says it really is a combination of like bowling and bocce and curling and all these things. But so you have a jack that you throw out. You have a mat that you have to stand on, and you have to have your delivery foot stay on or above the mat. But that mat is where both teams will play from for that entire round. The team that's in control of the jack gets to throw it out however far they want to. It just can't go into the pit at the end, and it has to go past I can't remember what the minimum line is. It's on a hog line, but
It's the hog line. That's the right word.
It is a hog line, so it has to get past the hog line. It then gets centered into the middle of your pitch.
Oh,
and then
so you can't put it over into the corner.
It starts in the middle, but once you hit it, it stays wherever it goes, unless it goes outside, right? If it goes outside,
it's like curling. Like if there's like the boundaries on the outside.
Yeah.
So if it touches the like if it's on the line, it'll stay in. But if it's past that, then you have to bring it back. You have to set it up 6 feet from the back. It's the same idea.
Yeah.
Does that happen very often? And can you intentionally, like, how good to do that now? Like,
yeah, you can.
You can.
Move it.
Yeah.
And if you push it into the pit at the back, it actually stays there, right? But so then you're just trying to get the bowl as close as you can before it falls into the sand at the end. Because if it does fall into the sand at the end, then that bowl is out. But the jack could stay in there.
The jack is live in the pit.
The only way your bowl can stay in the ditch is if the bowl that hits the jack goes in the ditch as well. It stays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, obviously, there's singles, doubles, trios, all of that. So there's sometimes different numbers of bowls out there, but a normal set of bowls is 4. And so if you're playing like doubles, you normally have 8 out there. If you're playing trios, is it 9?
Yeah, it would be 9. Yeah.
And if you're doing like 4 players, then you'll have 8 out there. The bowls have a bias to them, so you have a big circle on one side, and you have a little circle on the other, and your ball will curve in the direction of whatever side you have the little circle on. So if you want the bowl to move to the right, you put the little circle onto the right-hand side of your ball, and then you aim left of the jack or wherever you want to put your shot. you basically try to roll it end over end. You don't try to put rotation on it because otherwise, you're gonna have a little potato ball that's just like down there.
And you're throwing it too hard. Then at that point, if you're trying to throw rotation.
Yeah,
if that happens, it's called a turn up.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that.
Yeah. And then it's basically curling rules for scoring. So you try to get as many bowls as you can closest to the jack, and if you have 4 bowls closest to the jack, closer than the opponent's nearest, then you get 4 points.
Is there things like throwing guards and sort of like that? Okay.
For sure.
And then, like you said, Dex, you throw one at the back of the house in case that the jack gets pushed back. Then you have one back there too.
Yeah, general rule of thumb was like, I mean, yeah, you could put up a guard if you want to, but general rule of thumb is like a bowl that's left short is kind of useless besides blocking, because the jack is almost never going to come forward, right? It's never going to come back to you.
Yeah.
It's always going to get pushed back. So if you're going to leave it, somewhere that's not right on the jack, you generally want to be a little bit long.
Yeah, if you're gonna leave a guard, like you don't want it to be like 8 feet short. You only want it to be about 3 feet in front.
Yeah. Okay.
Because they're gonna be able to curl around it, so you want to have it as close as you can. Yep.
That's crazy.
Can you be accurate enough to actually like to hit it? 95% of the time. Like I'm gonna move the jack.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
It's tough. Like we were talking earlier, I found on rainy days it was easier. On or like if they haven't cut the grass recently, for me it was easier because it makes it slower, so you could throw it a little bit more aggressively. The carpet bowls, the carpet is outrageous. Like you have to put like almost no weight on it, and it'll roll and roll and roll. So it's so hard to find that like precision for weight.
Sorry, you may have said it. I may have tuned it out. How long is the pitch?
I can't remember the exact dimensions, honestly. I want to say
that one, Carrie. Good job, bud.
It's quite long.
It's like 80 feet, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely longer than a lane.
And do they tell you like the certain lanes or alleys or clubs? Do they tell you what the grass of what is measuring today? Like like a stimp meter for golf on the green.
A stimp meter would be perfect.
Yeah.
No,
not really. You just have to go out and throw. And so like you normally get like a couple of shots there and a couple shots back. You get a little bit of warm up normally.
Innovation, DB. Let's bring it to the lawn bowling community.
Yeah, I'm sure they thought about it, but they said no, we don't. But I mean, some like your national championships, it might be like they didn't mow the lawn for the last 2 weeks. And it's just it's like
you're exactly right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there isn't a finite perfect length for the pitches. That's what I thought too. So it is a little bit different from where you go, which makes sense because you can throw the jack out as far as you want or as short as you want to, and there's a lot of strategy in that too. But it goes between 31 meters to 40 meters is the range.
Holy hell.
So
Tim,
they are. So when we were talking earlier, like when I was playing with Lynn or Blair, some we were playing in a competitive league with like some decent prize money, and sometimes the old ladies would get real mad when we were making it go the full length of that pitch, and they couldn't get it there. But there's big strategy in it, and you try to maintain control of the jack for as long as you can. So if you are the closest, you get to maintain the jack, right? So you just keep throwing it out long. And
it's like, unlike curling, you don't always want to have the last shot because you want to be able to put the jack where you want it.
Mm-hmm.
You want to, like, if they're struggling with a certain length, you want to get it back and throw it short, or you want to throw it long so that they can't get close.
I think at the Open Nationals, the Monday or the Tuesday, like we'll take a bus there.
Monday. Well, I'm thinking we take our 5-pin universe crew, the 4 of us, Adam, and if the ladies can come, right, and we'll come out and we'll beat the PEI team with a
Okay.
There's a challenge against
no
the
problem. And you know
PEI.
what? We can
I'm
bring
feeling
the
a
camera
lot
out.
of pressure here right now.
Yeah, you're
Because
this is all
I've
on you,
watched
Dex.
you play, Tim, and you are dog shit.
You know what? I'm going to pick the teams. Like the Shepherds can come out, Alan Clark, Valerie can come out, all those guys. We can
One
pick
nice
this
thing
up.
about lawn bowling, it was $3 beers, so I think they'll love it.
So yeah, Monday night, I'm calling you guys out. We can set up the live stream. We can have it on 5P Universe, and just have a little tripod there, and then a little trash talk.
Here we go.
I think it'd be great. I like whatever. It's
I
well,
think
little
it'd be
champions.
hilarious.
Fill the bus. Fill the bus. We'll
That's
take
it.
anybody who's in town early. We're going to the club.
I'm down.
Oh.
I think that'll be super fun.
We got a really good question here, Amy. So since you primarily played on grass, obviously in PEI, and when you went to Worlds and you had to play indoors in Ireland, how was that transition? As Dexter was saying, carpet is quite a bit more fast. So
It was a really hard adjustment because I had never played on carpet before, like not once. So going over there and it being my first time on carpet, I was thankful we had 3 or 4 days of practice so I could get used to it.
right. Yeah. And were you able to get used to it, or was it still, even when you got to the competition, was it still pretty tough to maintain that speed?
It was still, like, obviously I adjusted enough, but I wasn't entirely as good as the other people because they play on carpet all year round.
Yeah.
So it was a hard thing to walk into and expect to do well against these other people.
Yeah. And it's not like it's something you can just set up and practice in your house either. Right? Like you don't
have a 40-meter long house? Like
I know exactly. Exactly. It's crazy.
Now, why is that? Is that internationally they play on a carpet and not on a lawn or grass? Or
They do both.
They do both, but like the world championships, like the ones I were at, is like the indoor lawn bowling championships. So like even though I qualified on the outdoors, we qualified for the indoor world. I'm not exactly sure. Well, I guess you can't really play outside in December, but
Yeah. Steve's question here. I'm assuming it was mostly speed.
mostly, yeah. And it's way wider. Like you have to go way farther out. And
Yeah.
it's because like where I'm at, it's relatively straight. You only probably have to go like 6 feet from the jack. But like out there, you have to go like way into the green next to you. Like it was hard.
And you know what? That's actually something else that we should say too. Is it's really neat because you could be on an entire pitch of green, right? Because you'll have just a giant square, and they can run either direction. But every pitch will have a different like reading a green in golf, right? It'll have a different movement pattern, and sometimes there's a ridge, and you have to get it up over the ridge, and it'll ride that ridge and then fall off the ridge and come down hard. And, it's really interesting. Everyone is different, even on the same grass, right?
It's the same thing in curling, right? Each sheet has a different characteristic.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because like I never used to have like really any superstitions with bowling, at least with my bowling balls. Like I never cared about which one I threw first. I never cared about any of that stuff, and I never really cared how I hung onto the bowling ball. But after I started lawn bowling, I had to have my name or whatever engraving I had to have it running up and down, and it had to have like the name facing the same direction the entire time because of the biases. It just got into my head, and then if I would struggle, I would turn the ball around the other way so the bias was on the other side.
do you have personal bowls?
Yeah.
You do in lawn bowling. Oh, okay. So and are they weighted all differently too, sort of like a 5-pin?
Different sizes, yeah.
Oh, so you don't use house bowls.
You do.
Well, you
They
can,
have them.
okay. Yeah. They have them, yeah.
I think they start at what 00, and they go up to like
They
5 or
have
6.
000 now.
Triple
What does
zero.
that mean? 000.
So the smaller the number, the smaller the ball. The bigger the number, the bigger the ball.
Oh, so it's not like a 5-inch or a 3.6, 3.8, 3.10
Yeah.
like that. It's
Kind of, yeah. So like I have a set of 5s, and they are almost 5-inch.
so they have okay.
Maybe a little bit more.
There's
but,
a bit of a scale, but it's
and then
not-
they have
it's
like a
not-
normal weight, and then they have what's called heavyweight as well.
Yeah.
Right? And there's a whole bunch of different ones that you can get. Some of them run like perfectly straight. Well, not perfectly straight, but less bias, and then you'll have ones that have a bigger bias. So you can use different ones on different greens depending on the style that you want to play.
Yeah. So does that have to be decided before the match?
That's
well,
actually,
you can't switch halfway through. No. Yeah. So like when I went away, you had like one designated set of bowls that you would put stickers on, so they knew that those were the ones you were using for the game.
How many would you have?
Well, some people take a couple sets with them. I only have one personally.
Okay.
One that I use every time. But and that was another thing. Yeah.
What are they?
We were away
or Drake's Pride?
I have Taylor Aces.
Oh, okay.
They're very wide. That was another thing when we went away. A lot of the bowlers were using straight bowls. But since I'm playing on grass, normally I've got like wide bias bowls. So it was even harder for me to get out far enough to be close to Jack. Yeah.
Right, because you said in the carpet, which is the world, you have to send it way out there.
Yeah.
Type of thing. I feel like I remember watching a video where that guy, like it went viral, where the guy was the most amazing shot, but that was the thing. It went way out, totally wide, came back in, and like clutch. It was unreal.
So we do have a little video that we will share with everybody. We pulled it off YouTube here. Unfortunately, it's not of Amy. We apologize. We couldn't track down that. But yeah, this shot is pretty incredible. So we'll just share it really quick with the audience. Let me see here if I can pick the right one. Hopefully I don't screw it up.
Yeah, this guy.
All right.
This is crazy.
This is on carpet, right?
Yeah.
So this is what I mean by the mat too. So
you have to have 1 foot on the mat. Okay.
You have to, and you can bring that mat up all the way up to the hog line as well, right, Amy?
Yep.
So you can move that mat however you want to. So if you're in control of the jack, you can put that mat wherever you'd like as well. Absolutely crazy. Amazing. And then falls on it. And I love the announcers in this too because they lose their minds. It's awesome. It's so good.
And helps they have accents.
So true. We can start doing 5PL. We'll start doing accents for a 5PL league.
Oh no, don't do it.
It doesn't happen very often. Like, I mean, you see that mix of bowls in the middle there. Can you just rip a ball down there and go splatter?
You absolutely can. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And that's part of the strategy too sometimes. Like, let's just blow this thing up.
But Daryl, you got to remember they have bias on them, right? So they're laying kind of flat. They don't just roll away. They kind of teeter in. They could roll back on you. They can do a bunch of different stuff.
And they go like this and just fall flat and you're just screwed.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that happens. You'll be like the closest one and then their bowl will fall over and you're like, oh, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like,
and it could happen at any point. You could be walking down there to measure and then boom, it falls over. You're like, oh my God.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this.
Something that's neat with it too is that when you go into tournaments and stuff, you have to register your bowls, and they all have serial numbers and stuff on them too. So
and at nationals you do. At nationals, like we had to take our bowls up. They write down the serial number and like what symbols on it and stuff, and then they give you stickers you have to put on and use to make sure it's the only set of bowls you're using. But at the Worlds, they didn't like do that. They didn't get you to come up with your bowls. Like they would just make sure they were. Every once in a while, they would check someone just to make sure it was right.
Oh, just spot checks. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so how get the mat? I'm just kind of like trying to understand this whole thing. The mat. Mm-hmm. Why do you need to stand on a mat?
Just so everybody starts at the same
Everybody
spot.
starts from the same spot.
Okay.
Yeah, designated.
So you
it's
can
like
walk
behind
10 feet up and throw it.
Okay. How many people were at the Worlds this year?
I think there was 24 competitors, something like that.
Okay. And were you the only one from Canada?
There was a male from Canada as well.
Okay.
Any other intriguing questions you got going on here, Tim?
Yeah. What's the normal season for lawn bowling? Like, is it? I'm
guessing it's while the grass is growing, Daryl.
But know when is nationals? Tell me more. When does it start? When do we need to sign up by?
So the normal season would start in June. Like if it's outdoors, like June to however long you can make it stay open. So some of them can stay open till December if there's no snow. Some of them will be closed in early October if there's it really depends. But nationals are normally in August, early September.
So fairly short season.
Yeah, our leagues used to start mid-May, sometime around there. Start of May, mid-May.
It's opening up May 8th, the Monday.
Okay, yeah.
I already looked at it.
Sketchy. It could still snow.
Well, you've already booked the date?
I already looked at dates, yeah.
This, I believe, was true, Tim.
It is.
They still do it? Because I thought they had stopped. Okay, yeah, interesting. So my lawn bowls are probably garbage now.
There's a stamp on your bowls that'll say 30 or 29, and that would be the year that they would expire. So they're good for 10 years.
5-pin bowling. This is how we get a rotation of equipment. We just stamp it, say, sorry, it's only good for 6 years. You have to buy a new set of bowling balls. Right, Tim?
I can put that in the specs. Yeah, that could be a discussion.
Your Olympics gotta go.
Nope. There would be a rule about grandfathering that in.
Adam Starlines are garbage.
Yeah, Starlines. We can think of all the famous ones.
Oh,
that need to get
you know what?
This would be huge for the sport. This would be a huge manufacturer's turnover.
Carrie, you and I use some of the oldest bowling balls from anybody. We use Manhattans and Comanches. Those balls are from the 70s. From the 70s.
I'm still approving this. I think this is a great idea.
Absolutely. I'm down.
Yeah. I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly, Steve. Like slow pitch bats. They're only good for so many years. Create a new stamp and you have to replace them all.
Yeah. You can pull that stamp off and add another one on.
Tim, I bet you if you get that passed, I bet you EBCO could slide you some money. Back pocket deals.
I think we need to become distributors of bowling balls.
You know what?
It'd really suck for Don Sim because I think he has a 30-year stockpile of bowling balls.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's true though. Yeah, he does.
Amy, do you know the answer to this?
I do not.
It's for manufacturers to have a turnover, Steve. Guaranteed it is.
You know what? I'm sure you're probably right because honestly, those balls are, harder than what we have for 5-pin balls, and they're used on soft grass, and they're not ripped through the back of things, and they're.
That's a super smart
Yeah.
business strategy of a sport. And that's 5-pin bowling missed that mark. Because 10-pin bowling balls do the same thing. They actually break down a little bit, but there is stamps on them and they do get aged out.
Yeah.
Could you just imagine walking around in a WCBT event? Who's going to do that? Let's check the stamps, boys.
Manufacturers will pay for that. Don't worry about that. Once they get a turnover rate and they actually start making good money on a sport, they'll pay for stuff like that.
Do you know what's crazy?
So apparently, okay. So the stamp on the lawn bowls is used to show when the bowl was last tested to ensure it meets international standards. Bowls must go through this process every 10 years, much like a car requires whatever. The stamp shows who tested it, to which standard it was tested, and the year it requires retesting. So it does sound like you can still take an old set, get it retested, and continue to use them.
I wonder what they're testing for that causes the expiration, though.
Yeah, I don't know what. It says international standards, so I don't know what those are.
Well, it could be anything to do with the bias, because they could change the rules that you're not allowed to use straight ones anymore. That would be my guess.
Yeah. Interesting.
I don't know. This is out of my league. I enjoyed the $3 beers, and I enjoyed watching Dexter and Blair at one time. But otherwise, I didn't have much to do with lawn bowling. But I think it's quite something to actually learn about the sport and see how far you can go and how you can relate it to our sport, right? And it's sort of a little bit neat like that. And I can't wait until we beat you guys in May there. So we'll see. Yeah. You never know. So, well, I do also the one other topic we did want to talk about. It was you were nominated for Female Athlete of the Year for PEI, Am I correct?
I was, yeah.
So there was only three other people, right?
It was me and two others, so there was 3 altogether.
Yeah, right. And I think one was like a weightlifter, I believe, and then
one was a wrestler and one was a rugby player.
Okay.
So, almost got it, Tim. You were almost there.
Tim, a weightlifter and a wrestler are not the same thing. I don't know if you've heard this.
All I know is
start with W's.
And I just remember seeing the picture shared. I think it was with, I forget who it was, JB, or it was on something, and all I remember was that it's like, man, that girl has arms. Like, that's why I started on the weightlifter, right? So
the other ones didn't have arms.
No, man.
Good for you, Amy. You've done well.
You take 2 of my arms. That was her arms. It was very it was very tough. But anyways, so that's quite the accomplishment, don't you believe? Like, I've never heard of knowing somebody being nominated for something like that.
It was pretty cool. Like, actually, my mom nominated me without telling me. So one day she came into the living room. She's like, "Oh my God, you're a finalist for Athlete of the Year." I was like, "Well, who did that?" I had no idea.
That's awesome.
That's pretty. So
that is really neat.
So what kind of process do you guys go to? Like, do you guys go to like an award show? Do you guys? How does that work?
Yeah, there was like a little thing where there was about 15 different awards they were giving out. Like, there's like a Junior Athlete of the Year. There's Masters Athlete of the Year. So it was a bunch of different awards held in like a lecture hall type of deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's quite the experience, though.
It was pretty cool. Yeah.
So, did you win?
No. Imagine winning for lawn bowling over rugby.
It could happen.
If you would have won the Worlds, then maybe you would have won.
Yes, but that
Then you
didn't
could have
happen.
said world champion from PEI.
So, do you think the poster would say nominated for Athlete of the Year if she had won, Tim?
If she actually won.
It would have said
No,
PEI Athlete of the Year.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know what happened, and then I thought maybe she might. Nobody shared anything, but I didn't want to be like, hey, by the way, I know you didn't win, but who won? Like, that's not the way you say things, right? So, I wanted her to let her.
Could've.
Oh wow! Well, I wanted her to tell her story. That's what's good journalists do, right? So I just want to help you guys out, right? So
you're doing good. You're doing good.
So you know what? In 2 weeks from now, the ladies are gonna be like, "Look at this. We're way more professional than those goofs, right?"
Oh, we already knew that.
100%.
We produce mediocre content. They produce something slightly higher than us.
Jokes on them, though. We got her on first.
That's right. A nominated Athlete of the Year.
That's right.
Yeah.
Take that.
Yeah.
No, that is really neat. That's quite an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. I love you too. Yeah, I really do. Yeah, thanks.
He was doing research into Danishes, Cindy. That's what he was doing.
Yeah,
So
8 of them.
are you gonna keep playing, Amy, for Worlds? Like, you've still got a couple of years left of being in juniors.
Yeah.
And then once you move into the adults, how does that look? I mean, this is a thing you're gonna do. We're gonna go down in history of seeing you at Worlds in 20 years or what?
There's not really a world for the adults. Like, there's a squad you can get on where you could get selected to go to like Commonwealth Games or like a tournament in Australia, but there's no, like, you don't win nationals and then go to a world. But with juniors for the under 25, you do.
Are they part of the Pan Am Games?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, and Tim's asking Commonwealth Games too. What's the
If I were you, if there's any way I could go to Australia for this, I'm 100% on board. I think that would be really good.
We were talking about this beforehand too, but it's massive in Australia. Like, it's absolutely insane. They have a club for lawn bowling there that holds like 10,000 members, but it is specifically designed for filming. It is designed for massive tournaments and live streaming it or on television. It is designed specifically for that, and it has 10,000 members just of that one alone. It's crazy. It is absolutely huge outside of Canada. We're just missing the boat.
So it must be a Commonwealth sport, obviously, because like you're saying, Australia, like that video we just watched was of an English duo playing in Scotland. Like, seems very follow the Britain rule-ish.
It's very UK oriented, and Australia is as well.
Does it kind of follow the same as maybe like cricket too? You kind of see that in a lot of those places.
So you're saying we could go to India?
Hey, if we can go watch an IPL game, I'm in.
For sure, I'm all about it.
It'd
Let's
be
get some cricket in.
Absolutely.
Do you know
There
what?
was a competitor I played against that was from Israel, so it's not just.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough then.
Not just UK, but mostly UK.
You just let us go in a straight line. We could just take it that whole way.
I think Tim Hooper knows a lot about lawn bowling.
He knows everything about everything. I follow his things on Facebook. He knows a lot. So, yeah, absolutely. You know what? We'll see how good our squad's going to be, and maybe we have an opportunity.
You're really pushing this match. This means I have to take a whole week off for nationals, even though I'm not playing, probably.
No, that's okay. That's okay. So what was that?
Well,
it started off as
there's a good attitude.
Amy.
There's a good attitude going into provincials, or into zones.
Yeah, we're just in zones here.
Yeah. Okay, so I gave my lawn bowls to John Mones. I don't know if he remembers because that was the night that he fell into my shower and ripped everything down. But I'll have to try to get those back. Maybe I'll steal those in Regina and then give them back to him. He better make open nationals, so give them back to him then.
Yeah, we'll figure out how many players you need.
We'll play 4 players. We'll play 4 players.
But we might have 7 podcast people.
We'll play 2 4-player teams.
2 4-player squads.
We don't know it. Like
we're creating a Ryder Cup format. It'll be a Ryder Cup format. You need 8 people.
Okay.
Well, we have to figure out another one.
We gotta make sure Tracy comes too, right? I mean, see if she's available. So I'm sure she is. I mean,
hope so.
All right, guys. Monday night practices. Carrie, what day do you play ball?
Tuesdays.
Monday night practices it is.
Yeah, it's not the truth, eh? Like, thanks, Steve.
We're just about to get into the 5PL and Dream Crushers weekend. Good segue, Barker.
Yeah. So this is the point in the podcast that we'll move on from Amy's story. She can stay on and banter with us if she would like. We know she's out on the coast, so it's a little bit late for you. But thank you very much, Amy, for being on. And if you want to stick around and listen to these idiots for another 20 minutes, you're more than welcome.
I might stay for a little. It's pretty entertaining.
Okay,
let's talk 5PL then. What about PEI? Okay, Amy, if you're putting together a pro league team in the PEI, who's on your team? You got 8-player team, and obviously you have to have at least one female.
I would hope you put yourself on.
Yeah, and one male. Most are usually having 2, and a coach.
Yeah.
Right. You know the format.
All the pressure here.
That's a hard thing to come up with. What if I offend someone?
You know what? No,
that's what this is about.
Yeah. That's not our problem.
That's a you problem. Yeah.
John Walsh. John Walsh is on the team.
John Walsh is
yes. John Walsh. Yes.
You have a brother, and you have a mother, and you have a father that play. So are you gonna keep your dad off, or are you gonna keep your brother off, or are you gonna keep
my brother is not coming.
My
brother.
He's off the island.
Not my brother.
Like, if you say the wrong thing, are you gonna get booted out of your house?
Who knows? Maybe.
Is mom gonna play, or is mom gonna coach?
She can be a coach.
Okay, we've gotten rid of your brother and your mother.
All right. So you're dad's favorite. Okay.
Yeah. Is dad in?
She's watching this right now, texting me.
Okay, PEI people, who's on the pro league team from there? Yeah. Albert's got to be.
Yeah, Albert's got to be on there. Yeah. Maybe James.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, I feel like you've got the Doodle brothers up in GP, the Holy Rollers. You got the Thompson boy, right? The Tompkins and Thompsons. There could be a good
Shepherds.
rivalry versus the hey, these boys.
Yeah.
We don't have to put you on the spot anymore, Amy. That's perfectly
Oh,
fine.
I it's funny.
What would be your team name? Do you have
I
any
don't know.
Potatoes.
potatoes? PI potatoes?
Probably
Probably.
red dirt.
Red
The red dirt rollers.
That's not bad. That's not
Just
bad.
came off the top of her head.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5PL.
Dream Crushers played first. You guys had a 14-12 your first game back at it. Hadn't played for a long time, right? Had all 8 players there. First game out, did a 14-12, huge game.
Yeah, a 6-2 over Heartland.
6.5, 1.5.
Oh yeah, 6.5, 1.5.
That's right. Jen Baker
The Adam
banged
tied,
out.
right?
Baker banged out last 5 strikes.
Yeah, 315 to 315.
325.
Oh, 325, yeah.
Jeez, guys.
Huge.
Yeah.
These guys.
Yeah, and it was good. It was good. It was a good team win. Obviously, being Heartland's always a favorite of ours, and Robert never texts me after. I don't know why, but
They played really well too, guys. Like they shot
Good.
13-15, remember? So good game from themselves. 278, 325. They had a couple of good ones, but obviously just not enough to catch you guys.
Yeah.
Second game on that side was Dream Crushers versus Revengers.
Revengers.
And
The
Revengers-
Revengers got their revenge on us.
They did. And Revengers came and they held on and won there.
Like this. Let's talk about the second game.
Yeah.
Bill, we're just gonna move on. Actually,
do you know what? I think it was good for us to lose. I mean, when everybody puts us up on such a high pedestal like that, it's nice to have a little bit of.
Can you
wake-up
just
call.
shut up? Just shut up. Seriously, just shut up.
But realistically, I do have to say on Sunday night there was a very immature bomber yelling at me on the mic.
Oh, shit.
And
Oh, Tim, I had to tell you. I had to tell you
Everything
to
you
stop chirping them.
Yeah.
I had to tell you to stop chirping them during their match. So stop it. Second match did not go as smoothly as the first one. We were dog shit for the first 4 frames.
Yeah.
Terrible. We were terrible for the first 4
You
frames.
unveiled the new jerseys you switched back. You unveiled the new jerseys.
Yeah, we went
for the
back
first
to the
game.
retros. That was the
Yeah.
mistake.
Yeah,
I think
don't
it's
know
going to be
what- I don't know
a black
whose thought
jersey.
process- Whoever decided that.
Home and away, Daryl, was the
Oh.
idea. But
yeah, we're just gonna go blackout from now on.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But you guys only had a 12-12, right? And
Yeah.
Revengers had
We-
12-17. So
We
it's not
fought
like it
back
was
a long ways to get that because we were at like
Yeah.
404. So I mean, we got 800 for the last 6, which is pretty solid. But it was a grind. And again, you know what? Even though Tim was just making a smart ass comment about like us losing,
It was good.
I don't think it's a horrible thing that we lost. We came back. It came down to the last ball. Weber. Well, it doesn't come down to Weber. It wasn't Weber's fault. Weber throws a double, 2 absolute bombs at 10.
Yeah.
He needs a chop to tie,
needs
13
chop,
to
yeah.
win, and
He had a shot.
ended up punching. And honestly, that shot was really, really close to being a chop or something like that. So it wasn't a bad shot at all. Stumbled a little bit down the line, but we brought it a long ways back. But I think we learned some valuable lessons as a team, valuable lessons in some strategies. So I think
You don't sub a central player for a central player. We learned that.
Yeah, Victor and Gary.
Yeah.
Double sub
The
there.
Victor
you know-
Gary combination
Yeah,
did not
yeah.
pan out.
Yeah.
We
We're
have
requesting a rule change for next year. Yeah.
Yeah, we needed another pull in there. That's what we were thinking.
I will say it's like the format's a lot different in the open, and I know our team is like there's other teams that have a lot of travel, but we have 3 guys that travel over an hour to get to us, right?
Yeah.
Or about an hour at least to get to us, right? So, in a
That's
perfect
not,
world,
that's not our problem, Tim. That's
No,
not my
let me-
problem.
Yeah, see, Tim's
That's
making
not
excuses
my
here.
problem.
No, I'm not making excuses. What I'm saying is, so when we the second game after shooting 1400, 9 times out of 10, if you're playing any other format, you don't change the lineup, right? And for us, we felt we needed to. I don't know why you had put me in.
Not needed to, but probably should.
Right, but but realistically, we want to give everybody who plays everywhere, comes in and plays this event, a shot to play. And it has nothing to do with anything. It just was normally when you shoot 1400, you probably will stick with the same team, right? And same lineup. So it's a unique, different way of looking at things. Maybe that's something we change in the future, whether I'm on the bench and stay on the bench. Like Steve said, hey, it's not a problem. Like, it's just a little bit different. And Tracy knows about a good shirt change because, since Paradise Marvel to Carnage, it hasn't really worked out for them, right? So,
did it feel good to play a whole game, though, Tim? I know it was getting close there, but did it feel good?
No, let's not worry about him anymore.
I wonder if it felt good to finish a whole game.
It did. I was actually 4 frames in.
He was panicking.
Actually, 1 frame in, 2 frames when I missed that spare. 3rd frame when I punched. It was pretty much anxiety the whole time. And then I hung in the corner. I was like, sure as hell, don't miss this. I did it through a strike in 6, and I was okay.
He was fine.
Okay. Dexter's averaging 292 through 30 frames.
Mm-hmm.
What am I averaging?
Why do you say that like you're shocked?
I'm not. I'm not surprised at all. I'm just
Dexter.
Point.
Dexter's averaging 292.
No. Sorry, I didn't mean like that.
He looked at your average last season, Dexter, and that's why he doesn't talk about mine because it's not much higher.
267 through 20 frames. Carries 234 through 20 frames.
He's up.
I'm way up.
He's up.
I'm up a point and a half, actually. Yeah. I'm huge right now.
Yeah. Weber is 283. Right?
Yeah.
I've got all those finished.
Daryl, what's yours?
I'm 251. Oh. I had a shitty last game. I was 260, and then I got pulled the last game. So we ended up playing the 3rd game. We can move on to that. Bombers played Okanagan Eclipse in the 3rd game. And boy, did the Bombers squeak out one at the end. Our ladies clutched up in the 10th frame. Both Annette and Heidi banged out in 10. It wasn't looking good for us for a bit, and a little bit of panic setting in. But
you guys were dead tied going into 10.
Yeah.
They had more marks. They had 4 marks. You guys had a strike and a double. The double being Aaron.
Yeah.
Right? And then Aaron goes
miss.
Was it 5-5-5 or was it 5 dash?
I think it was 5. No, it was 5-5.
5-5 on the situation where you guys needed him to. He needed to throw marks, and then so then it came down to. Well, you guys did good in second spot, and it was Annette in 3 or 4?
No, first spot we won. So Aaron came in for me and started the 8th frame, threw a strike in 8, threw a strike in 9.
Yeah.
But that was enough to kind of get his match by about
right.
20. I was super close in my match, but just wasn't playing good.
Yeah.
And then
I just mean in the 10th, was Annette 3rd or 4th?
She was 3rd. And she had a strike. 3rd. She had a strike going into 10.
She was the only other mark.
And she wasn't going to win her match, but she banged out for the 90 count to get to 280, which was massive for total.
Yes. Yeah.
And then Heidi did the same thing. And actually, Heidi needed 32 count in 10 to win her point. Because the other player, I want to say Trevor, maybe, Rechwalski, or somebody had finished the frame. So Heidi knew before going into the frame. And her first one in 10... It just barely pushed over the corner. There was a monkey in the back for us that pushed it over and got the first one. Second one was a bomb. And then, of course, she just needed a deuce, and she got the 3rd strike to win her match and get another 45 count for total. So I think Johnny, by the time, because, again, Mike Elder had finished, Johnny only needed like 10 or 15 in the last frame. And he went and I think he got a 30 count in 10 too. So we snuck it out with a 12-61.
Were you panicking a little bit? Because I do believe Johnny went 5-5 in frame 9. Did he not?
He could have. You know what he did? Yeah. I did that in frame 3 on a double. Started off the game with 2 bombs. Were perfect. And then my 3rd shot, all of a sudden it walked 5 boards to the left and came back with this big sweeping sort of thing. I was like, what the hell was that? And then it just didn't even much. The next 5 frames, and then so it was like it was a good time to pull out. But it was weird because our game, like Casey was sub coach for Lynn Howell was not available, so Casey was coach. So it was like you know, you're going to pull early, what are you going to do? And it turned out that it was a great time, but I mean, it could have been disastrous because there was 4 of us that could have been pulled. And it was just sort of waited and saw this match, but then just pulled at the right time, and we end up getting the 6-2 win. And boy, let me tell you, that was a relief, and team felt good after winning that. So,
I mean, Annette was clutch. I mean, Johnny, everybody, you guys all clutch at certain points.
Johnny was $2.99 for the game, so we knew he was having a good game.
You know, but how good is Heidi? There's somebody I watch that's so solid at the lines. Everybody she plays it no matter what, always they're close to the middle. She's so solid.
I know. 267 in league so far, 68 frames out of 70 frames, and she's already won 6 out of 7 points.
Yeah, she's awesome. So good.
That's
I just
unreal,
love watching her play. Yeah, she's so good that way.
Johnny's only played 30 games, 3 games, 278 average, and 3 points. I'm 51 frames, but I've got 4 points. You know, Aaron Arndt, he's won 5 points.
Yeah, you guys, Farmers have played well.
Yeah, we're averaging 263 as a team. You know.
So, and then on the other side, the last game they had Revengers lost, right, to Okanagan.
Revengers and Okanagan played the last game, correct.
So Bill, how about them apples, right?
Yeah, you're right. And so Revengers lost that one. They could have had a bid weekend, and I think they were gunning for it, right, guys? Because they got some good players in that team.
Very
they obviously want to get up into the mix and get into the conversation, but stumbled the last game. They still haven't played a ton of games, so they got a little bit of work to do. Like they've only played 6 games, right? Johnny Moens is 278 average with 4 points.
Yeah, he was really good. He played well. And on the other side,
Lumberjacks played Sleeping Giants the first game.
Yeah.
They did a nice moment of silence for Sylvain Bercier's mom who had passed away.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really glad they did that. That was awesome. Yeah. Our thoughts obviously go out to Sly. It's a tough loss. So.
And so Lumberjacks played Sleeping Giants first game, and the Sleeping Giants won 6-2. 1164 is what Lumberjacks had. Sleeping Giants had 1320. So that's Taylor Michelle, and Taylor's playing real well. He's got a 280 average right now, guys, with 6 points out of 8 games. Big number for Taylor.
Yeah.
Wes Swallock, he's only played a couple of games, 45 frames, 270 average. But yeah, no, they had a 1320 that last one. John Wilcott had a 303, and Taylor Michelle had a 298, and Sam Satar had a 277.
Mm-hmm.
Second game was then Lumberjacks versus Toppler Roses. Roses had a really good weekend.
Yeah.
So Lumberjacks lost that game as well. Lumberjacks only had an 1185. So a bit of a tougher weekend for Lumberjacks. They're kind of running out of time here. Talk about how big of an unreal team they were, but really, it's getting late. There's 7 games played.
They're going to have to definitely, go have a couple of 7-1s, 2 or 3 7-1s in there, and to try to work their way back.
The scary part is they only have 4
to get back to 400 to 500.
4 matches, right? And then they're saying a 401 percentage, right? That's not good.
That's tough.
So
they played the Roses. Sorry, let me go there.
Yeah, go ahead and finish up the week there, Daryl, and then we'll kind of discuss where the standings are at and what we think the projections will be.
Sure. So Roses, they were in the second game there. They had a 1305 playing against the Lumberjacks with an 1185. 1305. We had Rich Weber with a 305 in there. They changed the lineup in that weekend there. So Parker played a little bit of anchor spot, and Kevin Holdsworth played 5th spot. And Kevin in the second game they played so Holdsworth played 4, Parker played 5. Holdsworth had a 380 in his last game against the Sleeping Giants. They all had monsters. That was a 1490 for the Roses. But
huge.
Yeah, so Roses went 6 points, 8 points. So they beat Sleeping Giants 8-0. They've got Kevin Holdsworth is 55 frames played, 305 average.
Wow.
Yeah. Parker's 49 frames, only 239. But we know Parker can play when he's ready in big shots.
Last season MVP, right?
Yeah. Jennifer Smith just tidy around in there, 261, 265 for the weekend. She has herself at the 288 average, playing 37 frames. Daryl Wood too, guys. He's got 40 frames, and he's played got 289 average, and he's won 4 points. So the Roses are coming hard. They're going to be in there for sure.
Absolutely.
It was a good weekend for the 5PL. No complaints here. I mean, all the streams and everything was looking good, and commentators did a great job. And it's just it's exciting to be second half. Now we have some stats we can start to look at, right?
Are you bored over there, Amy?
Just had nothing to say.
That's a very polite yes.
Do you watch the Pro League at all?
No, not normally. I have a couple times.
Okay, so
mostly Dream Crushers.
Yeah, probably.
Sure, whatever makes you feel good.
Yeah, that's what the Dream Crushers need, actually.
Pretty much it.
Who would be your team you cheer for?
Whatever team you're on.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow, you got another fan, Tim. Wait.
Line them up. Yeah.
Send her a hat.
Yeah, she can wear it when we lawn bowl.
That's right.
So we're through week 10. There's an 18-week season. So you can see here based on the standings, you got home hardware and the number of games that people have played. We'll start to we have this weekend off because in Alberta we have obviously the open trials and there's club tour and there's just a lot going on this weekend. But then there's 3 consecutive weekends of games to happen. So that'll be obviously week 11, 12, 13. Thanks for the math. But by the time that those 3 weeks, we're going to see some really clear sort of stuff because more teams start playing, the numbers start getting. You're into the 7s and 8s. Matches played, things start to take shape a little bit. Now it's more of it jostling for position and maybe that last spot into the house.
Yeah.
Holy Rollers, looking at this one here, I'm looking at them guys. With them, they've only played 4 matches and have a 688 win percentage at 22 points. They're the team now in my mind that's going to likely try to get in instead of the Lumberjacks.
So my question is, look at and pull it up on my page here, but I'm interested to see who they're playing against because that could possibly change my tune. Holy Rollers,
Next Gen, St. James.
Yeah, there's still some strong teams
that have games
to play.
Holy Rollers still have to play Next Gen, and they have to play Toppler Roses, and they have to play Lumberjacks, and they got to play St. James, and they got to play Motor City. They have a pretty heavy schedule. And average pros. I mean, that's a win, but it's just they got a lot.
Maniacs have only played 3 games.
Yeah, exactly. So, I was gonna say the Minto Maniacs. I think they're your sleeping team, right? Because you really don't know yet.
Yeah,
and they're a solid team, guys. Like Sean, Lonnie Akers.
If I'm looking at 4 teams, I think for me in my head that are going to be good, it'd be Rock and Rollers, Motor City Mayhem, Toppler Roses, and Next Gen. The 5 spot I think comes down to Holy Rollers, St. James, and Minto. I think, and they're all those 7 teams I named are all very good. Right?
So Holy Rollers, St. James, and Minto are fighting for 5th spot, is what you're saying.
I think so, or unless you see Next Gen can not play so well. I mean, it is possible. They're only 550 and they have only 5 games left.
I'd like to say that those 4 teams would play for the 2 spots.
Yeah, honestly, the Next Gen's too good. They're just so good.
You mean looking at Next Gen, you got Bradley Titgat, guys, that's averaging 310. They've played 5 games. Bradley Titgat has played 50 frames. He's won all 5 games, and he's averaging 309. Tyler Titgat has played 45 frames. He's won three matches, and he's averaging 285. But remember, he had a 159 in there for like 8 frames, right?
So I want to ask this: you take away Tyler and you take away Bradley. What's the rest of the team averaging right now?
What difference does it make?
Well, you take away
That's not the point. That's why
Weber and Dexter. What's the Dream Crushers averaging?
It's a team, Tim. It's a team.
I know, but
that's a really dumb question.
It's not a dumb question.
It's a terrible question.
I'm just saying, Evan. I'm playing devil's advocate.
I hear what you're saying, Tim. I hear what you're saying. Evans only played 13 frames, guys, so he's only got 200 average. Evan's not playing a lot of bowling, right? We know his ball season's starting to pick up. So sure, there's 100%. There's a question mark there. Rylan, 17 frames. He's only averaging 190. But Rylan, we know, can run off a 400 back-to-back 400s, 2 games in the same day, and he's there. Jenna Lamoureux, she's a national champion. Sure, she's only averaging 222 here in league, but not great. Julia Robko, she's averaging 247. With 30 frames, so it's still a solid average.
I think if you look at that, Tim, you're going to see it's far more likely that you're going to see Brad and Tyler maintain those averages than it's going to be for Evan and Rylan to maintain theirs.
For sure, right? But I don't mind having a little bit of a dialogue where people get a little pissy, and that's perfect. Because
I question them too. I question them with you, Tim, and that's why I'd like to your comment about the 3 of them. Them being automatically in, I question. There's 4 teams for 2 spots. I agree with you. Rock and Rollers, Mayhem, and Roses will be in. The other 2 spots are going to be up. And Sleeping Giants aren't done yet. They still got 3 matches. They can put up 15 points. And Taylor, damn well he wants to be in the mix of talking.
Did you just say Rollers are in, DB?
No.
Oh. No. I was like, they only played 4 games. That's nothing, right?
Rock and Rollers, Sleeping Giants. Sorry, Rock and Rollers, the Mayhem, and Top the Roses, in my opinion, are in.
Yeah, I just hate this. I agree. I think the Mayhem are in, but they're 5 games in. They're not even halfway through their season yet.
Yeah, they're not auto in, but they're I'm looking at them to be in, and they play 2 games the next week, February 5th. So the Mayhem, so they'll be up to 7. So they play Sleeping Giants, and I want to say maybe Minto guys. I don't know if that schedule's in front of me, but that could be it.
What is it? Which one is it?
February 5th.
February 5th. Mayhem will be playing T-Bay.
Yeah, so Sleeping Giants.
And Mentos, yeah.
So that's a huge game there. A couple of huge ones. So that's T-Bay, they're 8 games in. So they need some points there. So
T-Bay has a tough match in Motor City, right? And then you're looking at team number 4 on our schedule here. Then they play the last week. So they play Minto and they play Next Gen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at the Jags, like Al's saying, Mighty Plex, they've only played 4 games. I mean, they're only 12.5 points and a little bit low percentage, but they've only played 4 games. So anything can happen. If they go run off a couple of them, then maybe we're talking about them. I mean, they've certainly struggled and got a long ways to go here, guys, but,
we're just calling them the Jags now?
Yeah. It's official.
The snowmen there in Winnipeg, they're doing a great job of promoting the sport there in Winnipeg, and they've got this challenge coming up this weekend. So they're rallying the troops around that team and that community that the snowmen got something to prove there.
So
I think snowmen are good. Yeah.
Can we get can we do some like NFL teams or NHL teams? They sometimes have like alternative logos. We were chatting with Kelsey and I were talking about this actually.
Good call.
A great alternative logo for the Plucks might be just a Jag.
Jesus.
Oh, grease. I would love to see Al get Jag jerseys. Oh my god, I would buy one.
Switching over to the Cargill division, Bombers have moved into first.
Yeah.
Officially on the points. Obviously, they've been sitting really well in percentage wise. Dream Crushers still hold first in percentage wise, but it's slightly lower than it was.
Yeah.
That's all right.
There's still some interesting races.
This is a lot tighter than the Well, but we still are missing Dakota and Misfits putting in some time, right?
Yeah, they're only 2 games in, guys. So everybody else is 4. I mean, Dream Crushers are 4, but we all expect Dream Crushers to be up there at the top. So, but I'm looking at those teams that have only played 2 games and to really see what's going to happen with them in the next few weeks. Once they get up to 4 games, 5, 6 games into there, we can start to, obviously they've got a lot of catching up to do, but
it's a lot tighter. I tell you, there's a lot more around 500.
Heartland losing that game to Dream Crushers there, puts a little pressure onto them. Obviously, they're 34.5 through 8 games though, but they are now ahead of Pinslayers. So that could be those 2 guys could be the ones fighting in for that last spot.
Yeah.
What do you feel about the Revengers there, Daryl?
They got some work.
Yeah, they got some work to do. They've only played 6 games, so sure they've got 5. But if they're going to get 25 points, that's 5 per. That's over 500 average. That gets to 48 points. That's going to be right in the mix for 5th place.
Yeah,
they got some work to do.
The crazy thing is that you look at the teams, and for example, you look at Venom. Venom only has a 33 winning percentage, but you look at their team they have, they're a solid team if they get rolling, right? So
yeah,
you can't sleep on anybody out there.
It's neat looking at this. Like honestly, the only team to me that feels like a lock right now for playoffs is you guys. Are the Bombers right now?
Is Bombers, yeah. Just because we played 7 games and we're 38.5, and we're but we still play. We play Carnage yet, I think. I gotta look at this day. We definitely play Dream Crushers. We definitely play Misfits, and we play Dynamite. And I think that's it. So then we must play Carnage too.
We play Carnage. You play us and Carnage.
So we play Carnage, Dream Crushers, Misfits, Dynamite. The Misfits and Dynamite are the ones we're looking at to see how they're going to make up and they're going to do. So we go over. We could be the ones fighting. Yeah, there's nothing locked. Certainly like our position, just like you guys would like your position. But this division is definitely. I mean, there's a couple probably not looking so hot. Mad Hatter's Venom, not so much.
If you want to talk about the 2 surprises of the league. Like I hate calling them everybody else, but like Lumberjacks and the Venom.
Yeah.
Those are the surprises. Right, Amy? You look just as surprised as I am.
Jonathan Cowan asked the question about who do you guys have as your halfway point player of the year. Tough to say just simply because of the number of games played, but because no offense to the Misfits, I'm not picking somebody off of them because they've only played 2 games. But if you want me to put, I probably know a little bit more of all the stats here. I'm looking at Bradley Titgat 309. Honestly, I'm looking at Connie Ward, guys. Connie Ward is averaging 297 through 40 frames. Looking at Ian McLean averaging 326. Through 29 frames. Looking at Nathan Cooper averaging 294, right? Mayhem's got monsters in there. Shane Chafe, guys, he's got 270 average, through 76 frames and 5 points, right? Rob Shanis is a 363. He's only played 1 game. You know what I mean? Like
Goat.
Taylor's
won't play an event, but
yeah. Dynamite. You got him there. Snowman, who's the high guy in the Snowman. So I mean, there's not really a clear cut MVP. Snowman doesn't really have anybody.
I think we have to wait till how many weeks is there total? 18
totally.
DB.
Totally, yeah.
I think we wait till week 15. Yeah, and then we start making our projections.
There's some front runners and some people getting closer to be on the ballot, but there's no.
Yeah. I think March, the first week in March, you can definitely tell. 3 more weeks after that gives you a lot more time. People have played more games in there.
Carnage, Mike Lecussier, he's the high guy with the 263.
Yeah.
Tom Tompkins, I love your YouTube handle.
265 for Jordan Shoots.
Tommy Tompkins, 5-pin pro.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Tommy Tompkins. There you go. So yeah, it's. I mean, there's a few names for you, but by no means is there looking to place a vote down right now of who those guys are. Sean Tompkins, he's the one. Sean Tompkins, 342. He's played 23 frames and shot a 292 and a 425, guys.
Yeah.
Right, and he came in and finished 3 frames and before with a 70 count. So, I mean, that's pretty sick.
Yeah.
Sorry, a couple more for you while I'm just working my way across the coast here. My apologies. Cora Lee, she's got something going with. She's 281 with the knockouts. You know, that's pretty solid. 281, played 4 games, won all 4 points. Made a massive difference when she's in the lineup there.
Yeah.
Richie Bulio, he's got 274 through 60 frames. Sasha Latondra, he's thrown a couple 300s, 264. He's got something going too. He's playing well. Last couple through the Eclipse. Not much, 265 for Mike Elder. Venom, you're 283 for Nick Utley. He's only played 2 games though. 288 for Marco, it looks like, through 27 frames. But we also remember what Marco did there in the 10th frame.
Oh, jeez.
Then the Pin Slayers, we've got Morgan Theedham. She's played 60 frames, 4.5 points for a 296 average.
Yeah, huge.
Right? Sean Eby, he's played 60 frames, 263 average, almost always playing an anchor spot. So, anyways, I digress. There's a whole bunch of names out there for you that have having some pretty good seasons so far.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that's a good way to kind of wrap this up. I know there's no Pro League this weekend. Open qualifying club tour out in Ontario. We wish you guys all well and good play. Look forward to seeing all the stats, and good luck to you 3. You guys are all playing the Open this weekend. Good luck in Edmonton
Good luck
qualifying.
to you too, Kerry.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry. All the luck on my side. Amy, do you have any events coming up here shortly in the next little bit?
There's not a lot of tournaments going on here. So there's one in New Brunswick in April, but that's about it.
Right. Well, good luck in league, I guess, then.
Oh, thanks.
Have you thought about like going over to NBT and trying out NBT?
Yeah. Just expensive.
What does a flight look like? Is it? I mean, it's. You know,
There's a bridge, isn't there?
To where?
No, is it
New
a ferry? I don't know. Oh no. Oh, okay, right. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Yeah.
There's no bridge from PEI to Newfoundland.
No.
That's what Dexter. I was repeating what Dexter.
I was glad he did his research, right? I'm glad he did his research.
Dexter, that can't be an actual question you just asked.
Oh, you never know.
Canadian geography is not your strong suit.
Not at all.
Okay, Lenny heard that. Mark that shit down. Dexter screwed up. What a dum-dum.
Yeah. You win some, you lose some.
I love that. This is going to be a snippet for sure. I love it.
But you can take a ferry to PEI, correct?
Yes.
There you go.
To PEI.
From PEI to Newfoundland.
So she can take a ferry from PEI to Newfoundland, Tim. She
Correct,
can't go to PEI on a ferry.
I don't know if it goes from PEI, but it definitely goes from Nova Scotia. So.
Yeah.
Regardless, it sounds like a bit of work to get over to Newfoundland.
Yeah.
It's not like you can just drive to Regina and go and play in a tournament.
But isn't there a New Brunswick tournament that Rod Nitz runs out there?
Rodney Nitz, isn't he like your fifth? What did I see? Your fifth biggest fan? Did I see that?
Oh, that comment was hilarious.
It's good.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, we hope to see you soon. So
yeah, you bet. I'm gonna start practicing May 1st.
Yeah.
For our lawn bowling.
May 8 it opens up, Dex.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Well, there's no fences there.
Go to a field.
Oh, there is a fence. I can hop on.
All right. Well, we'll wrap up this podcast again. Amy, best of luck to you. We'll see you at Nationals for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much for coming on and spoiling us with all your information.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Not a problem. All right, guys. We'll see you all next week.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks all.